What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over getting Python on your computer. Let's begin. Alright, so first let's talk about things that you will need. So first, obviously you'll need Python, and I'll leave the link in the description. The current version is Python 3.9.7. This will allow us to run Python on our computer. The second thing you'll need is a text editor or an IDE. I mean, that's a lot to choose from, but you can use whatever you're comfortable with. I put 4 of the common ones, which is Visual Studio Code, which I use. There's PyCharm. There's a free version, community version, which is also good. Comes with like a virtual environment, and we're going to talk about what that is later, but it's pretty good as well. It's pretty heavy, but it's good. There's Atom, and there's Sublime Text. That's just a classic, but it can be used as well. Alright, so to download Python, we just come to the official Python website, which is python.org. We go to downloads, click that, and the most recent version of Python is Python 3.9.7. We'll click on this to download it. I already have a version of Python, so I'm not going to actually go through the installation, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You just based on the operating system, it's just going to ask you like where you want it to be downloaded, and if you're on Windows, it's going to ask to save it to your path. This is just to, let your computer know where to find that instance of Python. And for Mac, it's the same thing. It'll try to add it to your, I believe, your bash profile. And this will pretty much just let your Mac system know where to find the version of Python, so you can use it in your computer. But this is where you can find Python, and this is where you install it. Alright, so the second thing you'll need is a good code editor, or IDE. In my case, I'll be using Visual Studio Code, which is pretty much a standard nowadays. It's just an amazing text editor or code editor, whatever you choose to call it. And you can even see from the screenshot that they have right here on the official website, which is code.visualstudio.com, which I'll put the link in the description. You can see that it even comes to like extensions that you can add based on whatever coding that you're doing. So in our case, we'll be doing Python, so we'd want to get this Python extension for linting, debugging, etc. So it's a very amazing code editor, but you can also get other ones that you feel comfortable with, but this is just going to be the one that I'll be using for this tutorial. Alright, so now that we have those two things, now we have to check if we're good to go. To check the Python version in the terminal, if you have a Mac, you can use Python-V, or if you're on Windows, you can use Python --version. This should give the version of the Python that you downloaded, so it can either be 3.9.7, or if you had an older version of Python already, it can be that version. Alright, so I have the command prompt open on my Windows operating system, and now I want to check if I have the correct version of Python. So I'll just do Python --version, and boom, I got Python 3.9.5. And if you have an earlier version or a later version, you should be good to go. I know in the video I showed you 3.9.7 is the latest, but yeah, anything above 3 should be good to go. And if you're on Mac, then you have to use Python-V, or Python 3-V, depending. So yeah, we should be good to go. Now on Mac, you may see 2.7 because by default Macs come with Python already installed. So you may have to use the Python 3 command, but you could change that in your bash profile by assigning it an alias, and I'll leave a link in the description to show you guys how to do that. But this will allow you to change from using Python 3 back to using Python specifically for that version that you downloaded. So yeah, that's how you can check if you're good to go. And once you are, we can move on to the next step and actually see some Python code. Alright, so let's start writing some Python code. I'm not going to open Visual Studio just yet, but we're going to use this thing called the Python shell. It's going to be a little environment that we can use to start writing some Python code. So if you're on Windows, open up your command prompt. If you're on Mac, open up your terminal and write the keyword Python and press enter. This will open up the Python shell. You should see these 3 greater than signs, and these 3 I believe they call angle brackets, and it should show like the version of Python that you have, and these 3 angle brackets, and now you're within the Python shell. Now we can start writing some Python code, and it should output whatever data that we give it, pretty much. So the first thing I want to do is I want to output some data. in Python, to do that, you use the keyword print. So let's write that out, print. And now I need to specify what I want to print. So I just open up some parentheses, and to specify that it's going to be some text, I can use a quote, and then I just write in what I want to write. So hello world, exclamation points, and I close the quotes, I close the parentheses, and then now if I press enter, which will let Python know I want to run it, this outputted what I expected to output, which is hello world with the exclamation point. So now we can see that we can open up this Python shell and we can start writing some Python code if we need to. So the first line of Python code that we ran is print. If we want to output data, some text, or you can even output numbers if you want to. So if I want to print out 2, it'll output 2 as well. We can do that, and this can all be tested within the Python shell, so you guys can go ahead and try that. And in the next video, I'm going to be going over some code, or some Python code, but I'm going to be doing it within the text editor, which is Visual Studio Code, or whatever text editor you guys want to use. You can use that as well. Thank you guys for watching.